You know who it is, everybody. I'm back once again with another hair tutorial. Today I'm showing you how I achieve these super long faux locks without any cornrows, without any wrapping, and in a relatively short amount of time. For this look, I am using Outre's X-Pression Twisted Up BoraBora Locs, and this is the 40-inch length. These locks are lightweight and soft and super long. And of course, you're gonna get a quick, long-lasting protective style with these. They also come in a 24-inch and in a number of different colors. All right, so let's get started. As usual, my hair is somewhat freshly washed. It's actually been a few days, but my hair is lightly blown out. And you don't have to do that. The only reason I did it is because it just helps to make parting easier. You'll also notice throughout this video that I'm not using any product. Of course, that's optional. If you have a product you want to use to make sure your hair doesn't dry out, you can do that. But I do have heat protectant on my hair from when I blew it out, so I didn't really feel it was necessary to add anything. I'm big on using as few products as possible, so I'm less likely to get buildup on my scalp. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is section off the front section of my hair, and I'm going to do braids right here at the front. So these are going to be all individuals. And you'll notice I'm only braiding about halfway, and then I start twisting because my hair gets thinner towards the ends, and the last thing I want to do is have to take out a bunch of tiny braids. So I'm twisting at the end. And I'm going to do these individuals all the way across the front of my hairline. And you'll soon see that I'm also going to do braids just behind that. Now for the second row, I'm only going to braid about halfway. I just need to braid just enough to maintain that part, and you'll see why later. And notice that I'm only doing about 3 braids there in the middle. You'll see when I pull those front braids back, those 3 braids were really all I needed to maintain the look of individuals. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Now let's move on to the back. I'm gonna try something a little different with this. What I'm gonna do is a total of 5 braids. You actually can do less, but I figured 5 was a good number for me. Really just for the pattern that I want it to be in, or where I want the parts to be, and also to make sure that my hair is nice and flat. You don't want big bulky braids that may make the style look kind of weird. I'm going to do 3 at the top and 2 in the back. Now when I first did these braids, I forgot a very important step, and that is I was supposed to bring that second row of individual braids from the front and braid them into these larger braids. So I had to go back, undo these braids, and do it over. And here's how it's supposed to look. Notice I also did the 3 braids by closest to my ears in that first row. I also pulled those back just to save myself some time. But honestly, you could bring all of these braids back and it'll save you even more time, because what I'm going to do with those front braids is pull them through the locks, and that's a little bit time consuming. And I'm taking those 3 braids and I'm connecting them to the braids at the bottom. So I'm taking the middle and side braid here and attaching it to this braid on my right, which is on the left side of your screen. And then I'm going to take the braid on my left, the right side of your screen, and connect it to the braid below that. And I couldn't find my needle and thread because I really wanted to sew these 2 braids flat to my head. But instead I'm using my crochet hook and I'm just pulling this braid wherever I can to get it nice and flat and to make sure it doesn't slide out. So I don't know how much of that you can see here, but I'm really just finding any little spot in the other braids and pulling the ends of those braids through. And here's how it's looking. Notice my parts are not perfect. It doesn't matter because no one is going to see that part. And now that our braiding pattern is done, we can start crocheting. But first I'm just going to show you how I crocheted into the braids that were pulled back. Like I said, I'm just doing a traditional crocheting method. So I'm just going under the braid, take the end of that lock, put it in the hook, close the latch again, and pull the lock through the loop. And then you're done. In the back, I just pretty much crocheted wherever I saw fit. There's no rhyme or reason. And you just want to crochet enough to where you have full coverage of that back part. And with these individual ones that I left loose, I'm gonna do the traditional crochet, but then I'm going to pull the braid into the middle of the lock. Like I said, this can be a bit time consuming. Well, my baby is up, so I guess that's all I have for you guys today. If you found this video helpful, if you like what you saw here, make sure you give me a thumbs up. If you have any comments or questions, make sure you leave that in the comment section below. And if you haven't already, or if you're new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you don't miss a thing. Until next time, peace.